If they can't be penalized, then what's the purpose of the goal?
So they can't be penalized monetarily. So for example, the city cannot cancel the contract because 20% into the contract, they have not met the goal. So for instance, on this contract, the goal is 11%. I think the last time I checked, they're around 7% or so. There's no mechanism for us to actually cancel a contract because a prime contractor has not met that goal.
Does that section have anything to do with the deviation process?
No. So if you scroll up, well, I don't know if you want to share, if you're willing to scroll up. The beginning of the post-award section actually discusses the fact that obviously in the first sentence, the prime contractor has to sign an approved participation plan. The second sentence says that a contractor should submit a request for deviation from OBO if the contractor, having made good faith efforts, reasonably believes that it will not achieve the participation plan percentage documented in the approved participation plan.
On this city contract. So there was some back and forth about that. Mr. Greer did implore me to not be on the wrong side of history in light of the murder of George Floyd.
Or is it different from before?
So in this particular instance, and I think we've heard testimony to this effect, that Polydyne did go to the chief procurement officer sent a letter to the chief procurement officer to request an increase based on a number of factors, inclusive of increase in transportation cost.
If a prime contractor is not in compliance with the participation plan policy, would it be correct that they would not be eligible for a deviation in a post-contract award request?
So, if in totality, looking at the particular facts at hand, the prime contractor has not been making good faith efforts to comply with their commitment, then that does not bode well for their deviation requests.
So if a prime contractor misrepresents information or fails to disclose certain information in making their request, would that prime contractor be eligible for a deviation in a post-contract award situation?
That would be a factor that would be considered. But I do have to reinforce that the application of the good faith policy is very fact specific.
If a prime misrepresents information or fails to disclose information in making a deviation request, should a deviation request in a post-contract award situation under those circumstances be granted? I appreciate your explanation. If you could give me a yes or no and your explanation.
No, but my answer is that it would play a material role. But I'd have to look at the totality of the facts, but it would play a material role.
So conceivably, a prime could misrepresent facts or fails to disclose and yet still be granted a deviation under your response.
We have to look at the totality of circumstances. We really do. But that's a material issue, misrepresentation of.
And to make sure that the burden of proof, if you will, is on the prime who is making the request, not the sub.
There were 22 instances of in which the loads were tendered to Trinity Freight Services, and but they were not accepted or delivered or brokered. Transportation was not brokered to actually address those loads by Trinity Freight Services. I mean, I can't tell you exactly where I got the numbers. I just know that there were 22.
Was made off of that. But right now, I'm trying to help myself as well as the judge here understand where's the supporting documentation or evidence of that claim that you relied on in making your determination. If it's not, 6 is not referencing your determination. You're telling me that today. It could have been. If it was 6, you didn't note a differential of 6 in your letter. You noted 22, which you testified to. So where is the supporting documentation for the 22 that are referenced in your letter and that you testified to today? That's what we need to understand and see.
So like I mentioned a few minutes ago, so within the documentations that was submitted, there were attachments showing discourses in terms of trying to engage Trinity Freight
Show
between
me those
Polydyne and...
And your counsel is free to assist them.
No, this is not the place for that.
Okay.
This is not a discovery hearing. And I'm
No, it's not
doing
discovery,
that.
Your
It's
Honor.
not helpful to me at all.
It is,
At
Your
all.
Honor. Respectfully, it is. May I
I'm not arguing
respond?
with you. No, I'm just telling you, it's not helpful to me. We're not doing that. This is not a discovery hearing. All I can look at and consider in making my decision is what you all have submitted to me. That is
That's
all
my
I can-
point, Your Honor. It's not fair.